Hanwha Life just gave it to them inside of the draft phase.
Yeah, I mean, there are some added things as well. More of Malmortius is built so easily as a third item on Ezreal.
Yes.
When it is so comfortable. We saw that even without Karthus being on the other side. A lot of opportunities for nullifying orb. We had a big conversation about this on the Pog State episode 2, which is out now. Came out yesterday. So you can go and check that out for all of your Karthus needs. And I actually want to reference it because we did have... we were having a discussion about one of the LEC games where it was Kassadin Karthus, and I was talking to you about, you know, that the damage variance not being necessarily the best, but you mentioned that, you know, Kassadin picked in that position was smart, and you're just saying that Mordekaiser isn't necessarily a big enough counterpick to the On to justify going double magic damage on this comp.
And Haru, interestingly enough, he has the... we've seen this actually a few times now in the LCK. They're still going Presence of Mind as well as Coup de Grace.
Interesting.
Rather than going Cosmic Insight as well as Magical Boots, so that you're able to just keep powering into items. So it's a little surprising why Karthus is here in LCK or choosing these runes, because these aren't really the runes in solo queue either.
Interesting.
And I'm getting my holy water prepared. I don't want to see a first item Morello.
Actually, I was watching Monday Night League on the LCS. They were having a bit of a Morello discussion, and they were agreeing with you. Just want to shout out Prolly there for obviously taking his holy water that morning. But a lot of the conversation about you know, why the players must be doing it is an interesting one as well, because a lot of what Prolly was talking about was basically laziness. Identifying that, you know, it's got Magic Pen, AP, and health, and those all seem like good stats, so why don't we just build the item? Was interesting because I've basically just heard you mold about it forever.
Yeah, and, it's been a year and a half.
Yeah, mostly like, but without justification for why they might decide to pick it in the first place, because you were pretty sure that there was no reason to pick it at all. I mean, Haru's taking a lot of damage from his wolves here.
There was a really interesting thing that I had on stream. I had a really long conversation while doing co-streaming of LCS, where there was even a spot where there was a lot of healing on the enemy team, and still Liandry's would outshine Morello in that spot. And I think that was a really interesting one for a lot of people, because Liandry's can even actually outshine Deathcap in some spots.
It depends on which champion it is, and like the abilities that you have. But if it's on like a Rumble or a Mordekaiser, and because Mordekaiser's passive does so much ticking damage that anything like a Liandry's is just so extraordinarily valuable. So Cassiopeia is another example, because you're a machine gun with your spells. And you have a poison, and like dots are just so incredibly strong. In fact, the item is just so good. Cassio, that's why you see people first item that choice.
Madness so quickly. And so, talking about this game here, so we already mentioned the Mordekaiser is going to be a bit of a problem. The Pantheon never has prio in this lane. And even though, well, we can view this from one of two angles. Is BDD not doing as well as Chovy did, or is Temp doing a really good job? Obviously, we're only getting selective camera pans over to the lane, so it's a little difficult to talk about, but
BDD is one of our best Zoe players.
Yes.
Basically none. I mean, there's a top 4 that we were talking about, as we're going to check out Clid. And he finds a Karthus, and he says, let's go kill it.
And you can just see, he's able to do this. Zoe has Pantheon completely shoved in. I have no idea what Haru's doing. I'll be completely honest with you.
Well, he's not flashing, I'll give you that much.
Yeah.
As that was very easy for Clid. His Jarvan, if you remember back to Worlds, guys, Clid's Jarvan is probably the best in the world. He's extraordinarily good at this. But still, that was pretty cookie cutter.
This game is really looking a bit like a go next fast, and I know that sounds,
I mean, that's what
maybe a little bit early.
Is. They do love that.
They do like to go next fast, and that's where we need the Papa Smithy image. That that is very popular in the LCK Discord. To go next fast as, yeah, you can just see. This is what we were talking about earlier. That is a byproduct of all of the lanes. Jarvan, who has the modes where he can be aggressive, he can gank a lot, he can pressure a lot, and be durable by going into tank, is able to just constantly walk into Karthus.
Well, Clid's going to just walk in and get a free flash in trade for a Searing Charge. Really nice from Clid so far. He's just not taking too much. Decide that they don't want to actually go for that dive or anything like that because it was 2v2 and they would be underneath the turret. But getting the flash is exactly what he wanted, as he'll go back, clear out his jungle, and then proceed back up top to try and capitalize on that summoner spell that they just collected. Mordekaiser absolutely a sitting duck, and so we'll now have to play this lane much differently. So Life unable to stop the backs here as BDD doesn't find the bubble onto Tempt.
And while Tempt is staying really close in the CS department, has already used his teleport. BDD still stuck in the lane for the time being. Also, Sork Pen Boots, first item, so gonna use this to coast into Lost Chapter next. As Clid, he's falling very far behind in the XP department. This is one of the things about Karthus, is that you have to really put him 6 feet under in order to take him out of the game, because his ability to just keep power farming and coming online is almost a surety in most games.
It's just whether or not Gen.G can continue putting on the pressure inside these lanes as well, so that they don't give Haru the space to get that work done. As Tempt looking for BDD, heal has been picked up. Clid, he's just figuring that the Mountain Drake will be exactly where they want to go. We'll see what the second Drake is, and then we'll be able to contemplate the Dragon Souls available in our first game of week 3.
Okay, so he got 1 magic resistance.
It's not very much magic resistance.
The Jarvan.
Yeah.
I wanted to let you know that. He got 1.
Well, I mean, who knows? If he survives on 1 health later in this game.
Hey, you know, it could...
It's happened before.
Yeah, it actually did happen. We had a Mountain Drake come into play.
Plus, it's only going to be more beneficial the more magic resist that he builds up, you know.
True. Any truers?
Yeah.
As it is, Ornn building right into Abyssal Mask, first item. And Ezreal has the tier right now. Pantheon can't really play the game. Karthus does have level 6, still does not have Runic Echo.
I do want to talk a little bit about how the Pantheon can't really play the game, but has stayed relatively competitive in CS. This has a lot to do with BDD just shoving waves into Tempt, so that Tempt has no other option but to stick in the lane. He's level 7 now. He hasn't been able to use that Grand Skyfall at all, because BDD's told him that he just can't. Because he's been just making sure that Tempt is always on the screen and dealing with these creeps. So just a little bit of a playstyle choice, I believe, from BDD, who does have the most gold in the game, despite not picking up the first blood. And that's just because he's farming these minions very, very well. So he goes back. That Lost Chapter you were talking about is going to be purchased. And now Clid moves on over to another Rift Scuttler. And denying as many camps from a Karthus is definitely a good idea.
So this is one of the issues with teams that draft Karthus without actually getting the Karthus spots, is because 3 of the lanes for Hanwha Life don't actually have any advantages inside of them. You have the Ornn that, if he's played right, is favored against Mordekaiser, and it's really interesting that, much like LCK teams or teams all around the world picking Morden to set. Hold on.
As the Cataclysm is going to get a double knock up there as the Ornn Horn comes in. Door is going to block it, but it's not going to save the Karthus. He'll be alive for a little while longer, but there's the Grand Skyfall from Tempt right in amongst 3 people. Requiem picks up 1 kill, and Cube's now moving on down. Clid just slides his way out, and Shelly was helping Hanwha Life over there on the side. BDD looking for some follow-up kills. But Ruler has just been left on his own, and he will be able to take a few plates and continue pressuring this bottom lane. Still an advantage for Gen.G.
And so, I mean, it's a massive win. You factor in the 2 plates as well as the minion wave that Ruler ends up getting that Vista did not. That's a kill as well. So,
and teleport available for Rascal, so he'll be able to get back and protect his
teleport
turret
as well. And so this ends up really just being a 3-for-1. So Cataclysm comes out, Life doesn't have level 6 yet. He actually gets it on the kill onto Karthus. Equalizer cast, honestly, a little bit late, which was a bit surprising. He ends up casting it as Vista comes in, and then Mordekaiser really late to the party. And as I was saying right before this ended up happening, when you pick Karthus, you want to make sure that your laners are actually really good against their opponents. Because if that ends up happening, the enemy jungler feels pressured to gank. And then if your laners are playing correctly, the enemy jungler wastes time ganking, and Karthus accelerates at a speed that they can't catch back up to.
Yeah.
And it just ends up becoming so oppressive where eventually they'll hit tab, and Karthus has doubled the CS, he's up 2.5 levels on you, and it just feels like a nightmare. But in this instance, because all the lanes for Gen G are so stable and able to be so controlled, Clid just able to get that initial kill onto Karthus and go into farming, and then not much is really happening here.
Yeah, and also now has his Cinderhulk completed, so he'll be a little bit faster. He's only behind 11 CS, which is approximately 3 camps. You could say, I believe he's taxed a few minions there, so maybe 2 camps and a few lane creeps, but otherwise it's all fine. BDD very, very close to getting that Luden's Echo power spike, especially alongside the Sork Boots. It is a fair bit of damage, and also will help the wave clear, which will hold Tempt in position for even longer. He's got Mercury Treads, has built up his first serrated Dirk, but this Pantheon is not doing what we want him to in this mid-game thus far. 40 seconds on the Infernal Drake. It will be either a Cloud Soul or an Ocean Soul. I believe everyone is going to be praying for the Ocean Soul this game. Slahens avoids Battlestar. BDD picks up a little bit of a ghost here as he tries to clear out a control ward. You're in trouble though. You can see Rascal, now that he's got that Abyssal Mask, he's real happy in this lane. Only a couple of levels away from being able to start ornamenting his items. And
honestly,
Genji is just very happy.
Because of the amount of magic damage on the side of Genji, Ezreal obviously also even dealing some magic damage himself. Well,
as Vista
has the flash, gonna manage to get away there.
You can see Clid, once again, he gets a flash, he walks out. He had Flag and Drag there, I believe, unless he used it to get over the wall initially. But decides, once that Summoner spell goes in, doesn't move too far forward because Tempt had the ability to follow up. But they're denying any of these follow-up opportunities from Humble Life. It's just played really, really well. As Lahens, he's in trouble. Clid, of course, doesn't have the Cataclysm, but there's the Equalizer. Lahens, the final tick before he gets off, and is going to take him down. As it's supportal combat, but Life does it from extraordinarily long range. BDD finds a bubble, gets it onto Tempt, but otherwise he's going to be alright. Doesn't have a lot of mana here. He's going to be asking his lost chapter for the instructions on getting back more mana. I think base is going to be the greatest decision here.
This game is really doomed at this point. You're going to have magic resistance start coming in. You already have a stopwatch on Jarvan. And what I was mentioning a second ago before he jumped onto Vista down in bot lane is this is a really good spot for Clid to actually build Abyssal Mask. He doesn't really deal any magic damage himself. I mean, I guess you have the Cinderhulk burn.
But if you're there, you're amplifying everybody else's damage.
You're amplifying all of your teammates' damage, and the ornament upgrade for it is such insane value. So combine that with Cinderhulk, it's really good. Really surprising, Rascal went... Rascal didn't go for Karthus.
Life very happy about being able to pick up that kill on his Rumble. Trinity Force almost done here for Ruler as well. As we can see, there's been a few moments where Genji's been able to really push forward this gold advantage, sitting at about 3,000 for our team. Well and truly top of the standings at the moment. After this victory, they will be moving to absolute first place, but Dragon X can pull back ahead with a win over T1 in our next match. But if T1 win that one, we're super close.
Yeah.
As our season progresses, as far as the top of the standings are concerned. Really does feel like our top 4 teams are really battling it out. Would have been a really fun summer season, you know, with 4 teams all really vying for those world spots. We only have 1 spot heading over to MSI, however. See who's going to earn that honor. Right now,
and MSI is a really big question mark right now because the LPL is still indefinitely
who knows what's
on
gonna
pause.
happen.
So I have
feeling
no
it
idea.
Still will exist. It's just in what capacity is going to be the question. As BDD has to use his heal.
I have an idea.
What's that?
All the LPL teams.
Is going to stun Clid. Now able to get a 3-man stun. Clid might actually have to get out of there, but no. Not going to fall just yet. Does in fact escape.
So, Phase Breaker's on cooldown, and all that they had to do was wait for it. And then with Life having Flash available, it would be a guaranteed kill.
Do you know if you can Face Breaker Flash, or whether you have to Flash Face Breaker?
Face Breaker.
Okay.
So, a little bit surprising.
Oh, man. The Dongjin Tarek situation, once again, reminding us. Started over back in the OGN days, where he actually did the cosplay. It was beautiful.
Well, wouldn't you say that it's marvelous or fabulous?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that would be a lot better.
Outrageous.
As Rascal is completely fine. Mordekaiser has to be really careful. He's actually in lethal range. Okay, he's still in lethal range. Now, does Rascal know that he's in lethal range? I don't know.
Well,
Doesn't look like he actually knows.
He just Searing Charged out, so that would say no.
So right now, Cuvée, because of his HP value, if Rascal knows about the Ornn combo, you end up doing the Q. Now on Mordekaiser, there's a bit of a mix-up. You do the Q and then you W so that Mordekaiser can't respawn Death Realm, because he won't be able to bring you in there. So you Q, R, W immediately, Mord can't respawn Death Realm, and then you E, knock him up, chain the knockups together, you'll end up killing him without Mordekaiser being able to respond. And it doesn't seem like a lot of people actually know about it, but it creates such insane pressure in lane for Ornn.
Well, see whether he can figure that one out as we get a decent stun there. Onto Life, Gravitum really helping Vista out here in this lane, but he has used it up. Severum, Crescendum now armed for the Aphelios. Gonna have to be fighting very short range. Does certainly help out with Tarek as far as getting those heals available and things like that. However, not great up against the set, who really does want you up close and personal. Are really desperately trying to impact this lane. There's not a lot of vision available here towards the bottom side, and we'll see whether Gen G do play overly aggressively. Bastion target, of course, is going to be Vista, so he's going to get a bunch of that health back. Clid comes in, clears out a ward. Haru finds him with a Q, actually dives straight in. As Clid actually has his tunnel interrupted, I think by the dragon, which was quite odd.
And
Kick not used just yet, as the Facebreaker interaction was a very strange one, as Ruler sees the control ward. It isn't what he wants to be doing here, but is able to use the Blast Cone, gets himself to safety. Now Humble Life are thinking about heading towards this trade. Death Realm has been used topside. Rascal gets obliterated. Ornhorn, wrong direction. Ain't great news, but it looks like Cuvé's just dead anyway. Okay.
That was Cuvée initiating the trade, handshaking it, and saying, yeah, I'm sure I want to do this.
And then never flashing or anything.
As the bungee cord that was about to...
Oh, the answering flash from BDD, so beautiful! Nothing that Tempt could do. And it's going to be flash for flash, but a kill over to BDD there in the mid lane. That's why I picked Vizier. He's just real damn good at it.
Well, he's going to have the CS advantage now. Tempt will have teleport, going to be able to get back into the lane as Clid now...
This is Conqueror Rek'Sai, so I thought that with Haru engaging, it was going to be really dangerous, given the fact that if you take Hail of Blades, you die in one rotation at about that level on the Lee Sin, but not to be the case, a little bit more of a Biffo version. It's okay. Now Rascal throws out the Ornhorn and then finds Cuvée.
Wow. He said what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah, amen.
This was Cuvée saying, I want to take this trade, and immediately after we just see this. And this is a mechanical outplay
so
by BDD, Clid being their perfect alignment for the knockup, but honestly, I really can't get over that top lane thing. That was
perplexing to say the least.
It's like you're going bungee jumping, and then you have the cord attached to you, but you see it's not attached to anything else, and you're like, yeah, I still want to go over the ledge.
Yeah. No. You saying I don't have the courage?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Cuvée, yes, I get it, you know, there's testosterone and stuff that happens, you know, making you want to fight, but that was not when you wanted to do it.
Think I'm not alpha enough?
Yeah, exactly. You think I wouldn't do it? I too like to play dangerously.
This is like that Key and Peele skit, the gullible prison guard.
Oh yeah,
Did you see that one yet? Oh, that one's good. I won't let you out of here.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez. Well.
So hopefully Cube can tidy that one up, but right now the lane is over for him.
I mean,
after
the lane
losing that,
has been over. More
yeah, no, but
doesn't
it's
beat
real.
Orn.
It's real big over now.
I can't get over it. So I'm watching every single region, although I watch only about a third of LEC.
Yeah.
But I'm watching every LCS game, every LCK, and it's just so bizarre. The amount of players that are picking Mord into Ornn, as well as picking Mord into Set. And it's like...
The Mord into Set is really strange.
Do you not realize that he loses both of these matchups, nor does he outscale them?
And they're not actually using the Mord to try and guarantee neutral objectives either, which is what
Right.
Mordekaiser is so incredibly good at. Like, it's not like they're picking the Mordekaiser in order to achieve a higher purpose.
Very confusing.
That's an easy smite there from Haru. Just bring it into the rush next time, boys. A little bit of a misplay on Clid's part.
BDD doesn't actually have a mana item, and so will be a little bit more difficult.
Well, that's not difficult at all, as Temp just yells into nowhere. Haru now trying to find the kill onto Clid. He will do so, but now BDD has the Sand Soldiers set up. Fair bit of damage there. If he gets out of the way of some Qs, he will be alright, as Conquering Sands will be back off cooldown pretty soon, but Haru has made it to safety. 1-for-1 trade there in the mid lane. More kills for BDD.
And he did the play that he did so that Clid could not respond with his ultimate.
Yeah, actually, that's still off cooldown.
Yeah.
Like it a lot. Get the kick out first.
Rascal being extremely reserved in this Ornn versus Mord matchup, especially when the Lee Sin was just shown. Cube is at 1,050 right now. Almost actually in lethal. Take a look at this again. Another perfect setup.
Yeah, it was really
BDD.
beautifully done.
And then right there, flash so that Rek'Sai can't get the burrow in the tunnel.
나 가는 중. 영거 버텨봐.
I'm going.
괜찮긴 해.
It's okay. I don't know if I'd agree with that. I think think your mid laner dying and then the enemy mid getting all the solo XP on the minion wave is a pretty bad thing.
Well, he comes back. He's almost completed the Nash's Tooth, has BDD. And Rascal's already almost taken that turret plate. Now Haru's going to move into this lane. He's got a Rift Herald just set up, and they want to use it before those plates get taken down. The Death Realm is where Rascal resides and will flash eventually. The Q's going to miss, and Rascal's going to survive. He has teleport available, but Shelly.
Red doesn't kill all the minions.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a big yikes.
That's a me.
Yeah.
That's...
Don't want to be doing it that way. It's poker in the eye. Poker in the eye. There we go.
How do you know that's her eye?
Because that's what it's called.
That's what it's called, but how do you know that's the eye? What if
I don't know. There's
Yeah.
Rascal going to get out. Searing charge and a kick to get him on his way. About 100 health there as Clid comes on into the lane as well, but isn't going to be able to find any kills, but Rascal should be able to survive for the moment. Root there onto Ruler. Get my 80 carries mixed up. No, I'm not. He's just rooted. Okay. That's how that works.
Do you know what that looked like? That looked like at you ever go to a water park and you come off the water slide?
Yeah.
And you're sort of like in the air, but...
And then you do the bump,
Yeah,
bump, bump.
yeah.
That was a little bit like that,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
That was pretty nice. That was water park Ornn.
I like it.
Okay, well, Leandre Storman completed for Cube.
There's a pretty good water park here in Korea. Should go sometime.
I've never been
Really?
to the, I've never been to Everland.
Yeah, it's Everland, right? I haven't been there either.
There's another one.
As
Lotte
in-
World.
Yeah,
right?
I've been to Lotte World.
Okay, I haven't been to either one. Surprisingly, there's also something at Jeju, I think.
Yeah, I'd assume so.
Yeah.
I haven't been to that one either. I went to Jeju, but
Oh, okay, yeah. You haven't been to many places, Atlas.
I haven't been to Japan.
But you
and I live in
claim
Korea.
to
I'm an
be
idiot.
from somewhere that just doesn't exist.
That's true.
So
I spent a lot of time in Australia, which isn't a real place. How can I assume that anywhere is real if I don't come from anywhere real?
yeah, I mean, we all know Summoner's Rift's a globe, and the Earth is flat.
No, it's not.
All right.
Runeterra is a disc. Summoner's Rift is something very different. It's Tempt once again puts his flash on cooldown. As he has to, Gen G continue to have a well of control, but 1.4 thousand gold is nowhere near the lead that they had in game number 1 at 15 minutes. So hold your heads high, Harmalife. You've done better this time around. But it's an Infernal Soul. Everything's a bit on fire.
Yeah.
And that continues to be Hanwha Life's story.
They're staring it down. In 10 minutes, it's going to end up coming up. So, definitely a bit of a rough situation here. If you are a Hanwha Life fan. And the other thing is that this Taric pick doesn't really do a whole lot because the disengage on the side of Genji is just so large.
Yeah, they have a lot of maneuverability, and they can have the agency to start off fights whenever they would like. And also, they don't really rely on cooldowns that much. I mean, you'd have to throw the ult as soon as you see an Ornhorn, right? But then you just move away, and then you engage with BDD. You engage with Life. You do what you want. As the Ornhorn does come down, that's a triple knock-up this time for Rascal. Nailed it.
I don't know.
There's a suplex into the backline, as we do have the ultimate to come out from Lehens. Keeps everyone alive as Life goes golden. He will be the first casualty on Genji's side for this team fight, as BDD does have to follow his Sand Soldiers out of that pit, and that is just a straight-up win for Hanwha.
Yeah, it's a very big win. And so they're going to get that Herald. They're going to be able to likely bring it into what I assume is going to be top lane so they can get the first turret of the game. As BDD there in mid lane, Nashor's Tooth first item on the Azir.
Did find a window to get his ultimate out as well, so BDD does still have that one available. Not really a good news story.
And it feels like
you're talking about is used top lane.
We got pseudo caster curse in the sense that the Taric ultimate came out, prevented Set's damage. Set was going to die anyway, regardless of what would happen with the ult. Kled making his way top lane here, actually down in XP, at least then doing a much better job at farming.
What the Taric ult did is denied the Emperor's Divide from BDD though, because it wouldn't have done any damage, and then it would have been an Azir in there as well with a very low health set.
Take a look at it one more time. As Azir not yet in the fight. And then right here, the Set ult comes out, but even if Azir goes in at that angle...
Yeah, you're not going to be able to find
anything to help out, right? Right. So, this is one of those Taric ults that doesn't do anything maybe in this instance.
Meanwhile, Cuvier's dead.
Cuvier's dead again, so...
We don't need a replay of that one, guys. We understand
really don't.
What happened.
Yeah, we get it.
He died. 2-0 now for both solo laners of Genji. The engage and the damage, both pretty much accounted for. Close to a 30 CS advantage here for Ruler, who's eyeing up that Molten Edge that will be available pretty soon. And it's pretty cookie cutter, as we said. Didn't really need the replay. But there it is anyway. If you guys are curious, that's a Mordekaiser dying without too many options. Didn't have Death Realm available.
As the top lane turret is also dying.
Yeah.
And so, at this point of the game, it's a little bit less than a 2,000 gold lead for Genji, but their team composition is so much better at team fighting later.
They're looking at an Infernal Soul.
Yes.
They've had complete control over the Drake so far this game, and Infernal Soul will be very, very good for this squad. Azir, so much consistent damage, and the Misfortune as well, and so buffing up both of those who can lay down a lot of DPS from a pretty safe range is going to be really, really scary. Heads up to anyone playing TFT at the moment. Azir, really strong champion.
Yeah,
at this point in time. Doesn't fit into a 6 Shadow comp, which is what everyone seems to be running, but otherwise, pretty good.
Well, Eternal Dragon can be up in 45 seconds. We'll see if Ornn can actually complete his other ornament for himself, as currently no one actually has an ornament for him to bestow.
Yeah.
As he's just waiting.
Yeah, he wants to complete his Forge Fire Cape. Will be coming in relatively soon. Vista not spotted by the Prey Seeker, but Tremor Sense is going to let Genji know exactly where the Aphelios is. 23 seconds, and Genji are so prepared for this Drake. And that's one of the fantastic things about having a Rek'Sai in your team. We often talk about Rek'Sai as this champion that does perform very well in the early stages, farms really quickly and all that sort of stuff, but Tremor Sense can be pivotal in these mid to late game skirmishes around these objectives like the Drake. Playing around this vision is a possibility. It's cleared back underground, able to spot everyone out as BDD. A little bit out of the way, just clearing up this minion wave. Tamalak grouped as 5, Obliterate down onto Rascal, but Cuvier's not going to be able to find anything else. Check out the damage numbers as this continues on. You can see over there as there's the Ornhorn. Moonlight Vigil down onto BDD and Life, and that is going to stop any sort of follow-up engage.
Took Kled into
think so as now the ultimate comes out from Lahens.
Now,
they look for the re-engage, but this is that disengage you were talking about. Emperor's Divide onto 4 people! An obliteration of Hanwha Life's team members. The third Drake comes in. BDD gets himself the MVP off one team fight. They're able to take it. In fact, LS just wrote it down on the sheet of paper as I was yelling and screaming. 5,000 gold now, the lead. Sun Turret now there as BDD just skating around the mid lane, real happy about his player of the game.
So, level 14, they're going to get the Infernal Dragon. They're going to raise the mid and mid-tier 2 turret, convert this into a Baron, and then off the back of this, they're all stockpiling so much gold.
Do you know what you call this? You call this taking an inch and taking a light year.
Yeah, this is, I'm not even
That's
sure
everything.
the speed at which Gen G was just moving. Is it called a parasec?
Parsec?
Parsec?
Yeah, parsec.
There we
Yeah.
go. Great.
Under 12, if you're talking about Beggars Canyon.
That is, so, here's what ends up happening. Cuvée with, I have no idea what's going on.
Clid's in the Death Realm, okay?
Death Realmed Clid, a champion that he can't kill inside of the Death Realm for no reason. Targ Ultimate comes out. Now, I talked about this. We'll just back off, because there's no real way for Hanwha Life to engage, and then Superman coming straight in.
And look at the size of that wall. Yeah. Isn't it fantastic now?
He says, I'm going in. I'm gonna go for this.
Oh my god, it was so perfect. Just so perfect.
Eat Dragon and then go to Baron.
Yep. Nice. Bit of a woo, and then Azir.
What?
That's exactly what I was thinking as well.
Whoa. Hold on, Atlas. Hold on.
Are we
Pass me the
rescinding?
holy water. Yeah. BDD had a 10-stack Dark Seal. At that point in time, should just always get Magi's.
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
the passive, you already have the passive granted. It's gonna scale you.
He also
so
built
well.
an Oblivion Orb instead.
What is going on?
Well, he's doing true damage to Mordekaiser, I think. He doesn't have any magic resistance.
That might, you know what? You might be a little correct there. So I'm gonna dial back a little bit.
Chill out, just a little
so
bit.
when the enemy doesn't have any magic resistance, you get the 18 pen from the Sword Pen boots, the 15 pen from the Oblivion Orb. Sitting on the Oblivion Orb can be valuable, but I swear to you, something if he builds a blasting one into the book.
Hey, if you build it into a Void Staff, though, Genji is a genius. As Haru is not. Oh, he is! Flashes over the wall as BDD gets completely outplayed by the young jungler from Hanwha's side. Clid is going to outplay Temp there off the back end. That Petrifying Gaze didn't work, but Vista takes a gigantic chunk of his health bar as now Cuvée is fighting Rascal underneath the turret. The turret just not caring about this Ornn whatsoever. The Death Realm put onto Clid to avoid the goat that flew by, but Clid actually wants to fight. It's Cuvé's Death Realm actually, as Clid dives on out with the tunnel as well. The Rascal puts up position. Looks like Ruler's trying to take down this turret. Despite BDD getting outplayed by Haru in such a beautiful way, it looks like Genji still will be able to raise this base. Great sidestep from Ruler, but is it going to be enough? The answer is yes. That's called walking casually out of the way of your demise. Hanwha don't lose the bottom inhibitor, but they are lacking their middle one.
Yeah.
And they have lost basically everything else.
He is actually getting
This is
the Morello.
so sick.
Now see, this is the reason that BDD is on stage and I'm not. He's a psychic. He knew that if he bought the Magi's here, he was going to die and lose all the stacks immediately. So
Yeah, I'm keeping that tick there.
that is exactly what's going on right now.
This is Cuvée like, look at how much of a genius I am. Then he's wait. Oh, dang it. As, in fact, Clid utilizing the Death's Grasp to his, to help him as well. So that worked out. As BDD does have the Blasting Wand. Let's hope that this game is over before we find out exactly whether or not it is going to be the Void Staff or the Morellonomicon.
So here's the thing about Mordekaiser at this exact point in time. A similar situation actually just ended up appearing. So the math isn't totally right here, but you can bear with me.
Okay.
So Mordekaiser right now at his current level, or actually 2 levels in the future from now, he would need to do 3,300 damage before resistances in order to heal 500 with his Conqueror inside of a team fight. and then you reduce 40% of that.
I mean, if you
40%
think about
of 500. One full tick of Leandre's is going to deal 160 to 180 before resistances. This isn't factoring in madness on a zero. So,
Haru's dead.
You can do the math real easy, and just
actually, to be perfectly honest, I don't mind Merlinomcon in this instance because Lehens is going to be healing, Tempt is going to be healing, Cuvée is going to be Wing. You know, like, there is actually healing available.
You get out.
No, I understand. Sometimes you have to call a spade, as that's a bullet time, and that's Lehens trying to blast cone his way out of there. Life are getting corralled like cattle back to their own base, moving up the bottom lane as Life just sidesteps that death realm, and now there's not even their turret awaiting them. It's the Sun turret that's there available. Cuvée is the bastion as the teleport flies forward. Life gets the face breaker onto Tempt. Huge shield comes out as BDD is petrified, but it's not going to be enough. The heal comes out. Cuvée looks for Life, will be able to grab that kill, but that is all he is going to be able to get. And it's Aphelios and Lee Sin versus the world now for Hanwha.
And they should be able to actually push on and end the game here potentially, depending on what Vista and Haru end up doing.
Yeah, that's going to be the second inhibitor of the game taken down. Clid making a beeline to the bottom one that is still available. Looks like Gen G want to be able to just shove this wave in, though. We've got super creeps that are trying to deal with minions in the mid lane. They are going to be here very, very shortly. BDD and half health. It looks like Gen G just want to get rid of all of the inhibitors, go take themselves an Infernal Soul, and win this game with a 13,000 gold lead by about that stage, I would assume. Teleport's coming in for the flank here. Gen G, they're not going to bite. Lehens out of position. Dazzle comes in, Gen G. Ruler just pops it. Good night, sweet prince. Cuvée chunked to about half health with a couple of shots. And there we go, another flash from BDD. Tidies up the 80 carry. Now Tempt gets 3-shot by Ruler. That double up was insane. But they do get position. Facebreaker, that is going to be Ruler grabbing another one. The Rek'Sai deals with one off to the side, and Haru is now the man against the world. But the rest of Gen G, they're just going to win the game.
And Hanwha Life, I mean, Haru, he's trying to run right now. He's trying to preserve his KDA. He tries to flash, ends up dying.
Yep, 7-1 and 5 on BDD. The Azir working out very well this game, and this will be the end at 27 minutes. Yeah. This is Gen G coming back with a vengeance after their loss to
blazing to a 2-0 victory here.
It is only 6:30. We've got an hour and a half until the start of our Dragon X versus T1 series.
Long break.
It is going to be a very long break, but do you know what? We need a long break to get ourselves prepared.
Oh, I need to go take a bath.
Yeah.
I think after that one. The items really...
The items weren't great, but I don't think the second Merlinomcon was quite as bad as the first one in this series. And BDD still had a phenomenal game on the Azir. Felt like it was a really slow laning phase, and then he just decided to outplay everyone for a really long time. It was great to see. Life, however, getting that upset over T1 is now looking even more perplexing.
Yeah.
After how hopeless they looked. After T1 were able to dispatch Gen G.
And again, I mean, we saw the similar issues plague them, and with champions like Soraka and Yuumi now going to be on the chopping block pretty consistently, they're not going to have these edges. Cuvée is looking lost in top lane.
Yeah.
Every single series that he's been playing. And honestly, I mean, Hanwha Life were sort of their own worst enemy before the game's even started today.
I don't know why the Mordekaiser priority was so incredibly high for them.
So they picked Mordekaiser into Ornn, and then when Genji showed Ornn's set R1, R2, not only did they pick Mordekaiser into either one, they also then paired a Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
Cassiopeia doesn't beat Set in mid lane. Set actually does pretty good against her.
Yeah. And then it wasn't even Set in the mid lane, and the Cassio had to deal with this Azir that popped off entirely.
Cassio can beat Set, but...
And also she can beat Azir as well, in a few instances.
Well...
Tempt didn't, but she can.
That was...
No, she can't? It's possible?
I think it's definitely Azir slated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it's going to go as far as who's going to pick up the player of the game. I thought BDD was incredible in that one, despite purchasing the book that he should certainly not get. All of these players just really like the library, obviously. They just go and then they find that particular book and they just can't help but to check it out.
They will repent eventually.
Well, it's not the right book. Just not the right book. But also, Humble Life just not on the right pages of their books either, because it just was not the same Humble Life that we saw being so creative in week 2. So we check out some of the highlights from this one. Clid once again starting things off very nicely. Life picking the support set, and at the very beginning of the game, being successful as I don't know whether we really want to see this again, to be honest. Man. As Rascal's like, oh, I'm going to pull my goat from beyond the death realm, and Kyubei's never going to know. And
I don't even know what that's like Goku's Nimbus cloud? Yeah, that he can just call and summon. Or is it like Volcanor? Thor's hammer? How do you pronounce it?
Oh, Mjolnir.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it, but I don't really know. That was sick from Haru. Haru actually had like at least 2 really fantastic plays on the Lee Sin. Wasn't enough to get them to anywhere good, apart from this one moment where they were able to take a Rift Herald and get a kill. But otherwise, not too many signs of life from this Humble Life squad in week 3.
And Genji, they're going to continue to coast on in the standings. Super clean here today. All around.
They've moved ahead of DRX, and it'll be based on what DRX does against SKT in our next match. But even if it's a 2-0 win for DRX, I think... wait, no. If it's 2-0 win for DRX, then DRX stay ahead because they'll still be undefeated. But a 1-2 loss is still going to be Genji in the lead.
Is still running the gauntlet. DRX and then immediately Afrika. And then after
and
that...
DRX is doing the same thing because they're T1 and then immediately Gen 8 this week.
This is really the weeks of kings, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Here in the LCK.
We're going to have our top teams really trading some blows here to decide which one is actually going to be the best up against one another. So these highlights are going for a long way because BDD he made some sick plays this game.
Yeah.
He definitely did. That double up there on the attempt to Kyubei as well was pretty rude from Ruler. Sometimes you just got to face breaker some people. As we have a look at the damage done, pretty large numbers there from the Azir. Somehow 16.6k, not too bad. And I've got one spoiler, half a spoiler here.
Yeah, go ahead.
The player of the game, one player of the game, 11 out of 12 votes.
Okay.
So we know who it is because we know who we voted for. But that is a lot of votes. And I actually
not
think
unanimous, though.
Not unanimous is weird. I want to be able to see who actually was the outside vote. Because remember, they showed the votes when it was just me that didn't vote for Summit that one time. And I was very sad about it.
Apparently Jungle. Clid got
the one extra one?
Right there.
All right. Right there. It's on our screen. So BDD is going to pick that one up. Understandably as well with his extraordinary Emperor's Divide around that Baron, but then continue to make some sick plays, this being one of them.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? You know, that's what they said about Superman.
But
in this instance, it is a bird.
Yeah.
Azir is, and he was pigeonholing them all game long.
Well and truly. As the Taric, it didn't work. This was where you're supposed to be able to turn around a team fight, and they didn't have any option. But that was Tempt flashing into his own demise.
And I mean, that was the end of the game. That play right there.
Yep, that was where you voted for your player of the game.
That is,
as it turned out,
before it was even over,
to win it. Yeah,
I started.
Yeah, I was still calling the team fight. Yeah. So there we go. But that was the game-winning moment. That was absolutely fantastic. Out of BDD, and now we've got an interview, I believe, between Clid and BDD, plus meeting him up on stage with some beautiful translation from G-Sun. So in just a couple of moments, in fact right now, we'll throw it over. So take it away, G-Sun.
Thank you very much, guys. This is G-Sun with YouTube translation, and Genji made a great comeback after the latest loss. So you are starting your win streak again. We made a lot of mistakes in the last game, and also T1 is a very strong team, so we expected the game would be really hard. So today we really wanted to work hard to get all the mistakes out of our way, and I'm just happy we managed to pull it off. PDD, I mean Hana Life Esports, is the opposite style of Gen G, so what was the plan to go into such team? So we just, thought every possible unexpected plays coming out of Hana, so we were really aware of those plays. So we could see you were really trying to play consistently and safely. And 10.3 patch, now junglers have more breeding looms, so do you really feel the difference? I haven't played a lot yet, so I might take more time. So yeah, I think we'll have to wait and see. Game number 1. I mean, Genji got a very clean counter composition, so did the players agree with that? We all got the champions that we like, or champions we prefer, so we were really confident going into that game, and also we got a very reliable comp overall. Especially you were really smart and intelligent in the early phase. Let's check out the replay together. So you sneaked into that rush and opened that fight. So who set it up and when? Well, I'm not really sure whether that was that sophisticated, but when we tried our Herald, I mean, we knew that they would be aware of that because we were so missing out of the map, so we knew that they would come in. And BDD, I mean, your performance on Azir was great, coming with a 10.3 patch buff. I don't really feel the difference coming into this patch, but I mean, these days there aren't, like, every champions are like here and there. I'm not sure which one is the best, so I just went with Azir. Tell us about the set support. I mean, not too detailed information, but how are you guys rating sets as a support champion? It might sound lame, but it's a good flex pick, so that's why we played it as a support. I mean, we saw people playing it in solo queue, so we wanted to adapt this in our game. So, moving on. We have this super toss montage moment, so how did you see that angle in the Drake team fight? Were you looking for that angle specifically, or? I mean, they had Tarek in their comp, so I was waiting till his ult goes down. We had to go slowly, and as soon as he used his ult, I had the great angle to go in. So yeah, I calculated the timing for the Tarek ult, and then I went in for my engage. Like, I guess the teammates were feeling like getting a gift from Azir, right? So both games were so clean. 2-0 win. I think you guys don't even need a feedback after this match. And you will be facing DRX in your upcoming series this week. DRX is on a perfect win streak right now. How are you going to prepare for that match? DRX tries a lot of new picks, and they have a lot of rookies. Their performance is coming out of their young spirit, so we have to keep our eyes on it, and we also have to focus on our plays, getting rid of our mistakes. Cleaner than today, right? Yes. And BDD, would you like to add on to that? Well, today, our winning streak has ended, so I was a bit sad, but I'm happy that we were able to get this win, so I want to keep this momentum rolling, and we will get consecutive wins from now on. So it was a very phenomenal game coming out of Genji, and this will be the end of the interview with Played BDD from Genji, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, for the interview translation as usual, and great to hear from Clid and BDD. I think they were our last MVP interviews, or at least my last one when I was here. As we check out the standings and the results after that win, will be DragonX still in first place considering their 4-0 record. They are behind As far as points are concerned, though, against Gen G, a few more very clean wins over their opponents, and DRX certainly taking their time with a few of their victories, and I expect that to continue over this week when they face T1 after a very long break today, and then Gen G in a couple of days' time on Friday. So that'll be really exciting to see whether DRX can stand up to either of the two titans that we saw clash in the last day of week 2, not that long ago.
And so, DRX versus T1 obviously going to be the climax of tonight's matchup. And honestly, I'm favoring DRX.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I feel like after the recent excitement of DRX, Carrier playing so well, Kyoshik as well, having phenomenal performances, it's hard not...
Faker.
Yeah, Chovy versus Faker. We've got Teddy versus Deft. It's a long break, but we'll see you afterwards anyway for a hype matchup.
Mọi người.
Bye.